Hey everybody, welcome to Cards and Sharps. How y'all doing? Good, good, glad to hear it. Alright, we are looking at my knife collection. I keep these in a box that my wife had made for me for my knife collection. She got that for me for Christmas one year. Really cool box. And pretty much, as you know, I buy and sell knives and all that. But as far as my personal collection, I pretty much limit it to in size to what I can fit in this box, and I can do like 2 knives per slot, and it's got a removable, and then you got more slots down in there. So I love knives, and I like keeping a lot of them, but I'm not one to just accumulate endless knives and all that. Um, I keep what I like, and there's reasons why I keep what I have and all that, and like to keep it manageable and not be like a so much like a hoard. For with all that said, what I want to talk about today is if some edit was passed somewhere that says a person can only have one knife, which knife would it be? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at my uh, knife collection here, and I will pick out a knife that if I could only keep one, which one I would keep. All right, let's get to checking it out. Okay, in my box, the top tray, as you might guess, is probably knives that kind of tend to be my favorites or more used. And then what's down inside here is other knives I just like to keep. And just for the sake of not getting too involved here, we're just going to limit it this to folding knives and lock blade type knives. Maybe slip joints and fixed blades would be a different video, and I kind of keep, those are separate collections, so we'll relegate it to folding lock blade knives for this demonstration here. All right, we know these are pretty much my favorites, so let's take a look at what we have down inside the bottom of the box here. And these are knives that, and some favorite slip joints are down in there too. But these are the lock blades or whatnot that I have down in the bottom. Let's see if any of these make the final cut. First off, we got the Ontario Rat 1. Very good knife. This is just not one that I typically carry. It's a little bit big, a little heavier than I like for everyday use. You can see it's scuffed up a bit. I do use it. It's one I will take when I'm going out to the woods, and we're going to have to include that in any discussion we have of keeper knives. It's a size that can be used for a lot of things, and it's a well-built, sturdy knife. Then we got the Boker Kalashnikov. It's a automatic knife. Pretty cool for an automatic. And if all I needed a knife for, I think, was maybe self-defense or whatever, would use. It's a very handy knife to use one-handed. As far as opening, it's a little hard it's got a stiff spring, so it's a little hard to close. And it does have a deep carry pocket clip. Nice EDC knife, but probably not one I would, if I could only keep one knife, because you got moving parts, springs, and things like that now you could look at possibly long-term wear and tear. I guess we're going to look at this from a standpoint of you can only have one knife, own one knife, and you got to own it for at least several years, or if not forever. So I like that knife, but it's not going to make the cut this time. Another one here we got is a inexpensive Ganzo. I love this knife. I've had several Ganzos, and this is the last one that I have ever, this is the one I've kept. It's my favorite. One came out of the box is sharp or sharper than any knife I believe I've ever had out of the box. And it's really good. I actually use it for some kitchen prep from time to time, because nothing will chop up onions better than this thing will. And this is one that would go camping and things like that for preparing food more than anything. Don't know, $25 price range on a knife. I wouldn't have a lot of faith in long-term durability if it was used in a lot of heavy use, but still, just love that knife. It is just really cool. And it's got the faux carbon fiber scales, and the action on it is superb. The Axis lock, or whatever they call it, works flawlessly. But again, like I said, it's a $25 knife. Don't know how that, I wouldn't have a lot of faith in it holding up over the long term. Though it has been a good knife for what use I've given it. Okay, out of the top of the box here, we have, going to start with the Sinran Mu. Not remember exactly what the model number was on this one, but it's a nice looking knife. And if you think it looks familiar, yes, it does kind of resemble a Chris Reeve, and it is sort of their copy, and we'll look at another one also that's even more obvious. But knife has flawless action. Just, it's tight, feels well made. It's held an edge really good, because I've used this knife a lot around the house, just cutting up boxes and stuff, and it's still very sharp. It came sharp out of the box. As far as one I'd keep, if I could only keep one, this one is not going to make the cut, because one, it's just too small. Two, big disqualifier is the tip down only carry on the clip, and that just doesn't work for me. But not a bad knife for the money. This is probably around a $22, $23 knife. Okay, staying with the Sinran Mu theme. This one is the Sinran Mu. It's their land model. And again, I'm not sure what the model number is on that. But again, it's going to look familiar to you. It's a copy of a Sebenza. And I do not own a Sebenza. Have not ever owned a Sebenza, but I have handled them at knife shops and stuff. And just on the surface, the biggest difference is the texturing on the handle here. On a Sebenza, it looks smooth like that, but it has some texture and kind of a roughness to it. Not really rough, but just has enough texture you feel like you got a good grip. A little more than this. This is slick, and if your hands is wet, I'm sure that would be very slick. But as far as action, this right now, without a lot of wear and tear, the action on it is just a bit as smooth as any real Sebenza I've handled. And knife is also very sharp, and it's held an edge, and I've touched it up. It touches up real easy. Not going to hold edge as well. It's not S35 CVN or whatever, so it's going to be a lot cheaper still. So it's not going to hold up over long term. How well it would hold up mechanically wise, it's hard to say. I use this knife a whole lot. I keep this as one I keep out on a shelf where I do a lot of stuff with my eBay store, and this uses to cut cardboard, tape, things all day long, every day. So this knife does get a lot of use, but just, you know, $30 knife, I just don't see, I would worry too much about the long-term durability to make this my one and only keeper. But if any of you are out there looking for a knife to get you started in a knife collection with a cheap knife that doesn't feel or look cheap, then I recommend that knife to you. Alright, that one does not, we're not even making the final cut with that one, even though I do like that knife. Next one here we got is the Pilar by CRKT. Nice little sheep's foot. Very utilitarian knife, and as you can see by the residue on the blade, this one does get a lot of use. It's opened a lot of boxes and whatnot. Don't ever carry this one because one, it's tipped down, and when I tried to, one of the screws was Loctite in so tight that when I tried to take a screw out to move it, it rounded off inside there, and I can't get that removed. I mean, if it becomes that big a deal, I'll just buy a new one and see if I can do it. You know, it's not an expensive enough knife that I'd put much effort in removing. I'll just keep it in a drawer in my box here, and if I'm going to be doing some work, I'll probably go grab it. It has done a lot of work over the years around the house, so it's a good knife. Not going to make the final cut because it's just not overall useful enough, but if I did still have the larger Pilar, it would make the cut. I did like that knife, but I do not currently have one of those. And these are not all necessarily the best or even favorite knives I've had come through my hands. These are ones that for one reason or another I've kept them. Either I just really liked the knife, or I felt the value of the knife was exceeded what I could get for the knife, or I just liked it so well that created some extra value or worth to me, and I decided to keep it. Alright, next up here we have got a Ontario Rat 2. This is the smaller version of the rat knife. This though has seen more everyday carry for me. You know, like I said, if I go out to the woods, I take the Rat 1, or if I'm out outdoors, if I'm wanting to carry one of these every day, or you know, when I'm going to work or whatnot, this one's the one that goes in the pocket because it's just a really nice size, great action, well made, and it's just a really good pocket knife. If I only could keep one, I would stay with the, I'm going to look for representing the rats. I'm going to stay with the Rat 1 because it's just a size and sturdiness that I think lends it to a little more everyday type use. Next up here we got the Kershaw AM4. It's their homage to Almar. So this is very similar to Almar knives you'll see. It's a really nice knife. I love the feel of the finish on the handle there, and it has a really nice action. It's got the assisted opening, so it opens real easy. It's a nice slim knife. Fits well in the pocket. It has a deep carry clip. A lot of things I love about that knife, but probably not durable enough for a lot of outdoor type use. It's going to get the fit the bill for a lot of your everyday stuff, and it's just a really nice knife. But as far as, I just love the looks of it, and it's a relatively inexpensive knife, low 30s. You can get one of these, so good value for a knife, good knife to have for every day, but not going to be a contender for a, if I could only keep one. Next up in the box, we got this Dejou. I just think it's a really cool knife to look at, but if you're only keeping one knife, you can't keep one just because you think it's cool to look at. It's definitely not utilitarian enough for everyday type use. Alright, next up, we have a pretty simple looking knife, but it's got assisted opening, just has that really nice feel. And if you, on the other knife, I told you how the difference between that center and move felt from a real Sebenza. This feels more, has that look, but doesn't feel slick. It's got just some kind of texturing in the metal, or just has a different texture. But this is a 0 tolerance small Sinkovich. Love this knife, and it's not a cheap knife. These retail for about $188, and there's not many knives that will retail for that I will hold on to rather than sell because I like them that much. But this one I just like. This one fits right in my wheelhouse as far as what I like to carry. It's a slim knife, you know, zero tolerance, so you know it's well made. The fit and finish is perfect, and it's just a very nice knife. It's perfect weight. A lot of things I love about that knife. And with the S35 VN steel, you know, that blade is going to hold up and last. It's going to hold an edge. It's going to withstand a lot of use, even though it is not a really robust looking knife. It has a good feel and very good blade steel. So we'll have to put that in the contenders pile. Next one we got out of the box here, we got this CRKT M16. It's a cool looking knife, and some things about a combination blade Tanto makes it usable. Tantos are really good if you need to do some scraping or whatnot. And just size wise, it's one I like. It's the size I like to carry, slim, light, very good action. But if all I needed was a small pocket knife for tactical applications, a little bit of utility, this would be a contender. But you know, inexpensive knife, $30 range. We would worry about things like durability, and also it is a tip down only orientation on the clip, which to me is a big disqualifier. But you gotta give it points for just being a cool looking knife, but not quite cool enough. Alright, next up, falling in that slim knife pocket category, and those of you who have seen the video on this knife and some mentions I've made of it in other videos, this is one I really, really love. This has spent a lot of time in my pocket. It's a great weight, good texture on the scales, good grippiness, easy to hold on to. It's got the little forward finger choil for getting in and doing for a long slim blade, usually you don't feel like you can get that kind of control with them. This, with that forward finger control, does let you choke up and feel like you got some control over that blade. Locks up good and tight. Just a well-built feeling knife, and for low $30 range, it's an awesome value. Tip up carry, deep pocket clip, it checks off so many things in a knife I like as far as everyday. If this was just taking into account everyday carry, and maybe I'll do another video at some point, this would be a serious contender. And I'm going to put it in the finalist just because I love the knife. Probably not going to win out, but we'll put it there just because I like that knife so much. Alright, next up we have the venerable Delica 4 from Spyderco. Nobody's knife collection or best of, or if I could keep one knife or whatever, would be complete without a Delica in there. A lot of things to love about the Delica. It's a good size, fits well in the pocket, but yet big enough and robust enough to handle a lot of chores that you might face with in the outdoors or for utilitarian reasons. It's a good sturdy knife, has a lock back, which is a very strong locking mechanism. Good durable, good grip. Just a good blade steel, VG10. Not the most expensive, but definitely better than your budget steels. Holds an edge well. Just a lot to love about the Delica. So we're going to say it goes in the finalist category. And then the last knife out of the top of my box is the Benchmade Bug Out. Just went in order in there in the box, so this isn't a giveaway on which ones I like the best. I really love this knife. For pocket carry, it's light, just works so smooth. You got the axis lock. You will not find a knife any easier to use one-handed. You can flip it closed, flip it open. It's got good S30V steel, so it's got a good durable steel, holds an edge forever, and just feels really good in the hand. The size-wise, it looks like that would be perfect, but part of what makes it light is the knife frame only comes back to here, so then you just supported by the handle the rest of the way, and the blade is pretty thin, so what would come into question is how durable would it be in some heavy-duty use situations. So alright, that is the final 5, and let's now just give them all one more look. How many of you got some of these knives? How many of them have you had? Which ones are you rooting for? I know when I watch these kind of videos, I usually have one I'm rooting for. And to be honest, I have not. I've had in mind which ones would probably be finalists, but I had not sorted out. I resisted sorting it out in my mind which one I would keep if I could only keep one, so that you will see me actually kind of work through that process of deciding. Love the Rat. I have had many of these come through. These are really good sellers, because a knife that you get in mid $20 range. I mean, that's just, I mean, if we were just going on what you get for the money, you know, value-wise, this has got to be at the top of the heap. Ausate steel, not terrible steel, not the best. You know, but there's just, you know, as far as what it will do versus some of the others, this one's a little heavier. Not my favorite pocket knife to carry. So if this was the only knife I could have, I don't think it scores enough in the durability and utilitarian range to offset the weight and the size of it for pocket carry. All right, which one? All right, I think we're going to kind of get in that same boat with the CRKT Ruger LCK. Love this knife, and this is kind of the other end of the opposite of the Rat. If all I was doing was pocket knives, you know, everyday carry pocket knife for just everyday carry kind of functions, this probably would be a strong contender, if not the winner. I know it's not the most expensive knife I have. It's not the coolest looking knife. It just overall it's just one I really like. But it's not going to make the cut. All right, now we're down to the final three. We got the Sinkovich, we got the Bug Out, and we got the Delica. And I'm going to say I have owned and had knives pass through my hands that would definitely make the cut, but for whatever reason, these are knives I have kept. You know, they just spoke to me, or I just felt they were just such a great value, or I couldn't sell them for what they are worth to me. All right, let's look at the Sinkovich here, see if it good action. A good sturdy knife. The blade, I don't know, isn't as utilitarian as say some of the others with the, you know, it's a relatively thin blade with but it's a thin handle, and but it just feels really nice. Okay. We're not going to eliminate these. We're just going to talk about those final three. The Bug Out, gotta love it. Just one-handed use. Great weight, good carry knife, and feels like it could, you know, with that blade, you just feel like you could do a lot with it. Is it just a little too lightweight and thin? And you got the Delica. You know, feels sturdy enough to take on whatever you'd want to do with it. Fits well in the pocket. Nice steel. Overall, good knife. I tell you, I'd hate to be. It's not a knife I carry all the time. It's not the one I grab all the time. There's a lot of. It really doesn't check off any of my favorite categories. And having several knives, I can kind of go with, you know, I got some that are thinner, I got some that are lighter, I got some that have better action. You know, just a lot about other knives I like better. But when you put the package together, I can't picture not having this knife. So, which one is it going to be? Which one would you pick? Well, I'm leaning toward the Sinkovich because, you know, hey, $180 knife, you know, it's got to be a lot going on. And it's more going on than it looks like. So there's, you know, good blade steel, good materials, titanium, all that good stuff. Got the Delica, and then we got the Benchmade. Oh, tough decision. Um, I love the Bug Out, but I just feel like if we're going forever here, I'm looking at these two as being probably hold up to more things, more abuse, and the winner is going to be. I'm going to stick with you pay for what you get for. Get for what you pay for. And the Sinkovich just costs so much more, but it's got just a lot of things that I like in a knife, and it's one that I feel like I can carry it every day. If you are in a situation where you need a self-defense knife, quick deployment, good size blade, right size fits the hand, good good action, good maneuverability, very, very well knife. To be honest, I did not want this one to win. I wanted it to be one of the old standbys, but this knife is just too good out of what I own for it to take a back seat to any of those. We may revisit this when if I add some higher end knives to my collection, then we may revisit, and it may not hold up to some. But I can't think of a lot of knives I like better than I've liked this one, as far as all the things I like in a knife. But there you go. That's the winner. That is the, if I could only keep one knife out of my current collection, this would be it. The zero tolerance small Sinkovich. All right, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Which one would you pick, and which knives out of your collection would you keep if you could only have one? All right, if you enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.